right, girls? So very challenging. It's really challenging for, that language barrier adjustment that we all went through. So let's go naman to homesickness. Nako, I think that's the most right? Like a really serious issue that we all went through, homesickness. I remember Chick was saying she was crying for some, months.
Yeah.
Ako, for me, 11 months until everybody wasn't here. That's
Yeah.
that was the thing that really made me okay here. But let's go ahead and talk about homesickness. So when do you usually miss home?
During holidays. It's like
Oh, yeah, that's
like
true.
during holidays,
That's true.
especially Christmas or New Year, and also birthdays. So when
Yeah.
you see like pictures, like you're not there, but
Yeah, thankful for the technology that allows us to make those video calls where you can see them. It's not the same as actually physically being there to give them hugs to, but
Mhm.
at least you're kind of you're caught up on what's happening in their lives. We have video calls daily,
Yeah.
my family back home and
Mm-hmm.
me. So here's what goes on because of the time difference. It's 9 p.m. Philippine time is
Mm-hmm.
when they make the call, and it's exactly 7 a.m. here on my side, and I'm getting ready for work. So homesickness for me was not really major. I know, unlike for the both of you, was a big thing. It was a big hurdle for both of you, but
Mhm.
um, I got through it. Yeah.
This is something that I'd like to add to that. Sometimes you feel that homesickness not just with celebrations, occasions, but also when somebody gets sick, especially with the recent
Oh
pandemic,
yeah, that's
right? It was so hard. Like, even
yeah.
if you're trying to, not miss home, you're gonna miss home if somebody's, not doing okay.
You
If
want to, yeah, like you feel like you want to be there with
there
You
them.
is
want
a
to
problem with
be
the
there.
family, like even just a small misunderstanding among family members, if you're suddenly gonna miss home, like, I wish I was there to help
Yeah.
out to solve. But yeah, we have our own ways of dealing homesickness. And for me, I think aside from social media, and I'm really grateful that we have,
Mhm.
technology right now, because it really helps us cope, with with whatever we're feeling. But also, I try to think about, oh, okay, they have their own lives too. I have to go on with my own. I have
Mhm.
work, I have to do this. But
Mhm.
and then I always think, I will be going home. One day I'll be going home. I'll see you. The only thing that really bothers me is, like, I wish I would, at least have spent more time with my parents because they're old. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the thing that kind of like lurks inside my mind. But so, how are you dealing with your homesickness, Chick? I mean, aside from the social media, I mean, so aside from video calls, and how do you deal it when you're alone, when you're at work? You know.
Well, I mean, that time you, when I was in Canada, like I'm just so busy with work. That's it.
You
Just
keep
work,
yourself busy.
work, work, work. I actually didn't deal with it really good because, like I said, like every after work, I would cry because I feel homesick every time I think about Ian. I think about my parents.
Did it kind of add to your homesickness that you were all alone and doing the stuff that you didn't used to do back home? Like you said, you were a nanny, you were
Mhm. Oh
helping
yeah,
out at the house. And was that embarrassing for you or
yeah. No,
humiliating for you?
well, that was the word, like embarrassing. At that point, I felt embarrassed because I didn't realize that I would be doing this kind of job. But after a while, I realized and I took really pride of what exactly I did. I shouldn't be embarrassed. I have changed for the better. I have helped my family back home. My goals, like bring my son in Canada. So I think all these things has to happen because I'm me right now and I'm happy.
Anyway, when you guys moved, was there any family or friends living close to you that would help you? Ako,
Oh,
wala. I really don't.
Me with my aunt, she helped me move to Canada, but also with like just being with my aunt. But the thing is that that time when I came, we're not really very close. We didn't have any relationship because I just knew she was my aunt. But I'm so grateful. Oh my gosh, she's an angel. Like she's godsend. So I had my aunt, and she tried to help me whatever she can, and then I have to be on my own. I have to learn everything on my own. I have to do all my research. I have to learn, how to apply this, where to go this, how to take the subway and this and that. And, so she was there for me. But again, I have to learn things on my own. Yeah.
You think?
For me, I my closest like blood relatives would be maybe hours away from Calgary in Edmonton. And but Jay had a large family here. He had aunts, uncles, cousins. There's a whole like Mariano YYC, Mariano Calgary clan here.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, but as a support
Ridiculous.
person for me, it was Jay because he came here in
Yeah.
2005. So I put all my faith in him. He was my guide through everything. He helped me settle. Yeah, so he was my person over here. Really
Yeah.
took care of me. Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I mean, even when you're in Canada or you're in the, in the US, I don't know if it's just me, but because I seldom see Filipinos here, like I never really get out of my way to find where's the Filipino community, or I was just busy with the kids and work. But it's funny that when you meet somebody that's Filipino, even if you don't like just a store or whatever, if you see them, it's like you feel like, "Uy,"
Home.
like you
I feel
know
like
them
home.
home, yeah. Like
Yeah.
like you really know that, oh, or even at work, because we have our call center here have branches in the Philippines, and when we would have conference meeting and I'd see their names and I know they're Filipinos, it's like I was kind of like secretly chatting them, uy, Pinoy din ako, like
Yeah.
it's so funny. But yeah,
No.
it
Yeah.
really feels good. So we've dealt with homesickness, we've dealt with language barrier. I think the next really challenging adjustment that we really had to go to is getting a job, right? I mean, I was actually writing down something, Chick, when you were saying your previous job in Canada, and I really want to say this to you, like all honesty, I am so proud of you for doing that.
Well,
I
thank
mean,
you.
Yeah.
because it's not just a humbling experience for you, but you have proven yourself that, hey, I'm capable of this. It's a discovery for yourself, right?
Mhm.
And you are lucky, I guess, that we both, all of us, we're in a place wherein we're not being judged for the job that we do. It doesn't matter what your work is, like it really doesn't matter. If you can afford Starbucks, you can afford Starbucks. If you can afford to go to Disneyland, you're not
Yeah.
going to be judged, right?
Yeah.
So what
Exactly.
what were your challenges, guys, when you were getting your job?
I guess the first year was the most challenging because I thought with all my credentials from back home, with all my work experience from back home, I would come here and get a job instantly. So I just waited for maybe a couple months to before I sent my resumes and stuff. No one got back to me in like 7 months, and I was so depressed because what's wrong with me? What don't they like about my resume? And until finally my current manager gave me this opportunity, and I've been in the car dealership ever since 2015. But one lesson I learned during those times that I was really down was your credentials from back home doesn't mean that much here unless you graduated here or you have the Canadian experience. Have you
Exactly.
heard about that? Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Before I went full time, I finally got a job in retail for maybe 5 months. That's where I got my Canadian experience, and I think it helped me a lot because it like polished my interaction, my communication um, with Canadians, my English speaking. I became more comfortable with my conversations, so that kind of got me ready for this full time job where I'm at now. So yeah, like Chiclet said before, no regrets about what we went through to get to where we are now, right?
Yeah, and let me add, I'm just really proud that of what I did for my job. But even if I'm in a comfortable position right now at work, I started, from scratch. My first job was, in the kitchen in a restaurant. It's a Filipino restaurant, but it's in the kitchen. Wash dishes. I was
Yeah.
working with Rian. Rian was cleaning the bathrooms. Stuff that you never really do at home. And then
Mhm.
after that, I moved to to a machining. You're with this small hands that I have to
Manufacturer.
run machines, manufacturing. And I'm like, what am
Mm,
I doing? I mean,
Yeah.
but I like the job. As long as I'm making money, I'm able to
Yeah.
feed my kids. I'm proud of what I do. And for our listeners, you'd feel that, when you move to
yeah.
another country, they're not gonna be, they're not gonna judge you for your work. But you know what? They're gonna judge you if you're not paying your bills. If you're
Ah,
whatever.
that's
That's
true.
how you're gonna be judged. And then from that, what else? Then I started, looking for, looking for opportunities in a call center. I started as a trainer, and then I moved up, and now I'm a training manager. So for those of you who are, planning to go here, it's okay to start from the very bottom. It's okay to not do what you were doing back home. And I
Yeah.
wanted to share this because back home, I mean, I have a community that I have built because of Zumba. I have so many followers because of that. And when I got here, nobody knew me. I have to start proving myself of what I'm capable of. And it's hard and it's going to take time for you to prove yourself because one, they do not know you. Two, they
Yeah.
don't care about your credentials. They'd rather see
Yeah.
if you have a McDonald's experience, in the States, rather than having a good job in the Philippines. They're not going to look at that. So keep that in mind, guys. It's okay to start from the very bottom.
Can you tell us between you two, because I didn't do it, like had multiple jobs at the same time?
Aside from nannying, I did house cleaning, I did house sitting, I did dog sitting, like all at the same time. Like I don't have any weekend. Like every day is like work for me. I even remember my aunt is just scolding me and saying,
Stop.
"Hey, can you just take one day off?" Every time you find, some part-time jobs, you'll be like here and there and everywhere. So my goal that time is to send money for my, to support my son and also help my family with, we had a business before. But yeah, like every chance I get, I will say, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. And even like physically, it's just so strenuous. I remember, like, I got back pains and I had this mild carpal tunnel. But my struggle that time is I'm just so worried I'm not going to be able to find a job. But it always worked out that people would, come and offer. I guess because I'm so charming.
Maybe. I want
I
to know too about Jack because I know she also did like two. Did you do two jobs at the same
remember.
time? Two, three jobs. I just want to hear your story and what your motivations were. Why you feel you had to do it? Because I
I,
didn't experience that.
yeah, I feel like I was telling Chick earlier, I got addicted because I was, when you make money and then there's things
Yeah,
that you
first
can
time.
buy, right? And
Yeah.
then like, oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. And of course I was helping my husband, we have a big family and I don't want him to shoulder everything. I
Mhm.
want to be independent financially and not just, so I was a trainer. And then there was an opening for it's funny because it's totally different. There was a ER admin register that they needed. So I was training, and then right after work, I'd run to the ER and work until like 12 midnight. I'd get off at 4, I go home, cook me dinner, I leave at 6, I work until 12. And I was at the ER. I was admitting people. So I was admitting people, I was checking their benefits, their insurances. I go room to room at the ER. So you see a lot of things happening, sad and happy and funny.
Yeah. Oh
But
gosh.
the only thing that made me stop is I got COVID. And I felt the same thing that you were feeling. I have back pains. I felt I didn't have enough time for my family. You
Mhm.
may be earning extra,
Yeah,
but it's taken so much of your time from your family.
there's a trade off. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I had to
exactly.
stop that. I had to stop that, and I was burned out. So when I come home, I'm stressed out.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah,
irritated.
that's the word.
So, alrighty. So, can you name some of activities that you were not actually doing back home, but now here you can do it? I know, Chick, you have a lot.
Oh gosh, like travel. It's true. Even if I'm in the Philippines, I don't think I can afford to travel. I can
Right.
travel maybe inside Philippines, but not, you know, outside or international.
But chick,
Uh,
having the blue passport
oh
makes it
yeah,
easy to travel international. If you're
exactly.
traveling from the Philippines, it's hard to
It's
get a
hard.
visa to
True.
wherever, right?
Exactly.
When you're in
Yeah.
the Philippines, even the local travels. I think that they're pricey. You have to do a lot of preparation.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
It's
also, yeah, it's costly too. So that traveling for me is one. I'm loving nature more appreciative of nature, hiking and just activities. Being at the beach and even just a simple walking the dog every day. you know, I love it. It gives me like 30 to 45 minutes of me time and being so peaceful and not worrying about or thinking about anything.
That's really nice. And you see, like simple thing. Look what simple things can do to you.
Yeah.
And for me, I think simple lang. I mean, because the beach is really like close to us.
It's a bit.
See, there's another
I
language
thought we
barrier.
read a bit.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah. We went to the beach, so for them they were laughing at me. It was like beach. It's like okay,
beach, I know.
Okay, so
My
I mean,
granddaughter always correct me with
Right?
pronunciation. Kiki always say that. Grandma, that's not right. Yeah.
yes, and it's a bad word kasi din for them. So it's different. Anyway, like going to the beach, making sure that I say it right. You can just pack your towel, put this stuff in the car, and then
It's
go.
so
But the
easy.
Philippines, it's such a
Sa
big
Philippines, ang daming handa.
Oh, it's the same thing. I get what you're saying, Jack. For me, if the beach, kala ko hindi ko na sasabihin eh. Going to the beach is your example. My example is because I'm such a fan of theater and musicals and a concert goer. Diba, when we were back home in the Philippines, we didn't have any shows in Tarlac. The closest show would be in Manila, and you'd have so many things to prepare for and to spend for, right? But over here, it's 15
easy.
minutes away, 20 minutes away to go see a musical. So,
Yeah, I remember
I'm
you saw
so
Kevin
happy.
Costner. Remember?
oh yeah, Kevin Costner, Neil Patrick Harris, Brian Adams,
Oh my
Alanis Morissette.
God.
Yeah.
My bucket list of performers, right? Just
Yeah.
yeah, that's one
That's
of the
really
things
nice.
I'm happy about.
And remember, if you're in the Philippines and you go to Baguio, which is like 3 hours from Tarlac, it's like a big deal. Like you have to rest the day before. You have to, but here six
Sleep
hours.
early.
But here, I
Mhm.
remember we drove like 4 hours to Florida just to get a taste of Jollibee. Then we went back home. Parang wala lang, like it's
More
okay to
chill.
have
Yeah.
that, and the trip is comfortable. You didn't have to have a lot, in your car. Okay, now we're getting to the juicy part, ladies. It's about shocking revelations, and I want you guys to be honest here, okay? I mean, freedom of speech. We can say what we want. Bahala na yung mga listeners. Let's point out stark differences between. Let's start household dynamics. So, how do you think it's so different? I know you guys agree to this. Ako talaga, I've seen it. It's totally different. It is. It is totally different. So, back home and here, paano yung household dynamics ninyo?
What I'll be saying here is compared to back home where there's a clear line between gender based like chores at home. Like the husband doesn't work at home.
Oh,
He
yeah.
works, comes home and relaxes, and so you have to make him coffee and stuff. And the wife takes care of the home,
What's the
right?
matter if you're working?
That's true. But over here, there's none of that. You're all equals and you share in the work because
Shared
that's the
responsibility.
only way it can work. There has to be teamwork. So Jay, for example, is in charge of vacuuming the carpet, mopping the floors, cleaning the bathrooms, and I'm in charge of like dusting and organizing stuff and cleaning the rooms and everything. With our cooking, for example, like traditionally husbands don't. It's just the wives who
Yeah.
do it. But over here, Jay is more in charge of the ulam, and I would be more in charge of like pasta dishes and baking and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. It's teamwork. Everyone has to be moving. Even my kids have chores, right? Small chores that they can do.
Mhm.
So that's how we work at home. That's I think with how busy our lives are, it's the only way it can work. You have to
Yeah.
Yes.
delegate. Yeah.
Oh, think you nailed it. That's really what's happening here, like equal shared responsibility. It doesn't mean that you're the husband. Hey, we're both working. We gotta share the chores, right? And I think that one of the things that kind of like shocked me is when I moved here, part of the household dynamics, because Fern had previous, marriages. So meron siyang mga kids. I have stepdaughters, and they would call me first name, and I'm like, oh. I mean, for me, I teach my kids to call him dad, but he can't tell them to call me mom. And it was a big deal for me, but he was like, don't take it so personal. It's nothing. I've seen it in a lot of families. So I'm like, oh, maybe okay nga lang talaga. Maybe I'm the only one making a big deal out of it. So, and then there's another household then the difference that I saw. Like for us, we're so used to after you cook, you place everything on the table, call everybody, hey, it's dinner time. Let's all sit down and eat. Because we have close families, and I'm really proud of that. But here we came to a point before when we were so busy, I would cook and it's in the pot. If you're hungry, get something, eat. Because I'm busy, I gotta go to work, and you do it. And like you think, I agree, it's a shared responsibility, even for my kids. So we do laundry together. We do. I set at a time a day like, okay, cleaning time. Everybody needs to put down all their phones. We have to work. Back home, no. There's nannies. Ate, can I have tubig? Ate,
Oh
can you wash
yeah.
for me?
Yeah.
So different. And like I think it's shocking to me, but it's something that I need to get used to. You know.
Mhm.
And I wanna remind our listeners that it's okay. It's okay if the husband does the cooking, does the cleaning, because it's equal here. It's a shared
Yeah.
responsibility. So when you move here and you get married, teach your husband to help you. Don't
Yeah.
serve them, don't serve them.
Yeah.
Make them help you. Don't own up all the responsibilities.
Same as mine. Like there's a division of labor. It's also different in Canada because when I was in Canada, I wasn't with Lawrence, but I used to be with my kids. So the household dynamic there was when Ian moved his family to Canada, I gave them 1 year to adjust and settle down. And then I said, okay, because this apartment is bigger, I'm moving out and you're going to be on your own. So it's so different, right? Like, I mean, like in the Philippines, like your son with a family
It's with
can
you.
stay with you until
Mhm.
30, 35, 40 years old.
And the wishes. Yeah. Good thing you mentioned about that.
Exactly. But honestly, it was very hard for me. Again, I have to teach them a lesson.
That's called tough love, chick.
Tough love. Exactly.
Yes.
And
Well,
I was scared though too. Like, I mean, okay, are they going to survive? But you know what? Tough
sink or
love,
swim. Mhm.
they did a great job. And again, like I didn't expect, like after like I left, they did it on their own. Also, I wanted to add, for us parents, I know it's so hard. You always want to help your kids, right, financially and whatever it is. But I think, like, for me, I realized that tough love and just trying to believe and trust them that they can do it, they will actually do it, you know.
Exactly. It's really a huge change. It's a big difference for us because, here they really have to let go once they turn 18. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that, and they're not scared to let go of their children. And I was really shocked that they can do this to their children. And not even that. There were times that you would see parents like in a play center, and then their child or their kids, would hurt
And just,
themselves, and they say, "You're okay, you're
yeah,
okay."
okay.
For us,
Yeah.
it's like it's really, really different. So
Yeah.
again, let's have a takeaway. Listeners, if you are planning to move here, to move, US, Canada, wherever, learn to let go, because whether you like it
Learn
or
to
not,
let go.
learn to
Yeah.
let go of your children. I was even telling Rian, do you want to move next door? I think I can't let go of you. I mean, I know he's giving me hints that he's about to get married and move out. And even my second son, he's 18, he's turning 19. He's telling me his plans, and I'm like, why am I not included in plans? Like I want to
Yeah.
be with you, but they have to be. We have to let them go.
When Jamie first told me that he was moving out, I was sad. I wasn't mad. I wasn't gonna stop him, but I was just sad. And that's what I told him. I'm gonna miss you. But if this is what you want, and I'm glad that he was and he is independent now, and I'm so proud of him. But at the start, it was so hard. I
You are
know it was so hard to
right.
let go, and I still try to just jokingly ask him if he wants to move back when I get the basement done. Are you gonna go back and live with me? And he says, "No, I think our children value their independence. I think
Yeah.
all, all of our children will get to that age where they would want to be on their own. And the best thing that we can do is give it to them. Trust them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Trust
that's how
them.
they learn. That's how they learn. That's how
Uh-huh.
they figure out what they want in life. Not, staying with us. And, we always have influence with them when they stay with us, right? With their parents. So this is us giving them a favor of just
Yes.
learning and exploring and being independent.
O yan na, Filipino listeners, kahit nasa
Yeah.
Filipino
Even sa,
restaurant, let them
yeah,
go.
let them go.
Let them get
Yeah.
hurt, let them make mistakes
They learn. They
because that's
learn.
how they're gonna learn. So, what about naman difference of work environment? Well, I have to give it to us. I know kahit siguro dyan in Canada na they know Filipino have really good work ethics. We're
Yes.
very hardworking. We stay true to our word. We're reliable. So, what's changes that or like difference that you see sa work environment?
I think this was already mentioned before. Like, oh, you
And
can call your boss
first,
by their first names. You don't call them boss. You don't call them sir, ma'am,
Mhm.
right? Like what we were used to in the Philippines if someone was higher up than you. Um and secondly, there's not much drama in the
oh,
workplace because
really?
with working with Canadians, they're very straightforward, and then it's done. If they say something to you, if they reprimand you or something, if they give you reminders or something, it's done. After they say it, it's done. Back home, there's still drama like behind the
You
scenes
take
or
it too
even
personal.
after. They take
After
it
work,
personal,
still
or
drama.
what is yung nagtatanim ng sama ng loob, right? But
Yeah.
over here, it's just
Aggressive.
work. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
It's just work, right?
When you call out, like you don't go to work, and you like because there's something going on with the family, even if it's just like there's something going on in the family or somebody's sick in the family, you don't care. Go ahead and take care of your family. Diba? Back home when you're called in, even if you really got sick, parang duda pa sila eh. Like back home, we really have to investigate. We
Yeah.
kind of like doubt first before believe them. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but it's just really my observation.
No, this for me is a positive thing. There's such a thing that they call work life balance, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Mhm.
Work is not your life, your entire life.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have a family. Things go on in your life outside of work. So they're very respectful of your time,
Yeah.
respectful of the other things that happen outside of work. And over here, you can even take a stress leave, a paid stress
Yeah.
leave, or
Or like a
only for a year.
personal
Yeah,
time, you
time
know.
off, and they'll
Yeah.
pay you for it. And then also, like, just one other story, like, how we have bereavement for
Yes.
Mhm.
for
So they
family,
hide the family. Yeah.
family who go. But here, when their pets die, it's a
They have
big
it.
deal. They send you home. You're not
Yeah.
okay. Your dog died, so go home and
Yeah.
grieve,
Because they
right?
don't see pets as like, they don't see this as just animal. They see
Yeah.
them and consider them as your family.
As your family.
And let's educate them too that there are service dogs, there are service animals,
Mhm.
animals that provide services to humans.
Emotional and
Emotional
everything.
Emotional
support, yeah.
support, and it's amazing to see this kind of things that we don't see back home. What about the difference naman when occasions, celebrations? I think I can start this. Dito celebration, parang may time frame lang. Like, okay, we celebrate Thanksgiving, we eat dinner, bye. That's it. And
That's
then for us,
that's
it goes all the way
true.
until like early in the morning, right?
Remember back home in the Philippines, we have a very long Christmas that begins September 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Filipino homes have their trees up by the 1st of September.
Yeah.
But over here in Canada, we have to be again respectful because in November we have what do you call that? Remembrance Day for us. Remembrance Day for us Canadians and
Oh,
Memorial
and
Day
then more day
for
for
the
you.
US. So you can't decorate for Christmas like happy decor until the November is done. And that's the only time you can bring out all the happy stuff, happy decor, right?
Mhm.
Blinking lights and stuff. But they tell me, oh, maybe you can start decorating at home and just leave your lawn, free of all the glitzy stuff for Christmas, and just try to be respectful of Remembrance Day. That's for our fallen soldiers, right? The New Year, my first New Year here was,
Oh my
where's
gosh.
all you're looking for all the
Ah,
noise. Where's the noise? Because New Year in the Philippines is so noisy with all the firecrackers and
yeah,
fireworks, right?
firework.
Over
Yeah.
here
Celebration
it's
starts at like
bawal. I
9,
think it's
right?
bawal. You have to go out to look for an event or
Hey,
something.
yeah.
Firework display,
But
yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
but back home, but here at home, there's nothing.
Like,
There's
every
really
New Year,
nothing.
I think my 9 p.m. tulog na yung asawa ko, my
Yeah,
husband's sleeping already. I'm like, I'm so bored. I'm so sad. And you
I
know what I noticed
know.
too? When I've noticed too when it comes to celebration and occasions, the way they give gifts. I feel like they have a personal touch. It doesn't have to be an expensive one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a letter opener, but it's a personalized letter opener. I feel like in the Philippines they kind of like judge you, by the gift that you give. I'm sorry I
Yeah.
have to say it, but I've experienced this at home.
No,
But
me too.
here,
Same here.
here sometimes, I've had some jobs before where our bosses would just give us a piece of chocolate, but there's a like
Yeah.
really nice note, a ribbon, and that's it. And I can see them. I can see my coworkers so grateful, like, oh, this is so sweet. But I'm like, chocolate now? You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
that's the Filipino in me because that's
Yeah.
how we are at home.
How about
Yeah.
you, chick?
I have spent some Christmas here before Lawrence and I got married. The only thing, like for me, it's just so awkward is, Christmas and then they give presents, right? You do not just get your present and open it. So what they do here with Lawrence's family is that one by one, you get your gift and then you have to read the card first and then open the gift and people will be looking at you, your expression.
Oh,
Yeah. So and then they're not gonna move on to another person unless you open all your gifts and read all your cards. So
Wow.
I think here is that they just want to see your reaction, like how you like the gift.
yes.
So I think for me, first time that was kind of like awkward because I feel like, okay, everyone's looking at me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, and also, in addition to what Jack mentioned, is that kids here are so simple and they appreciate everything. Even just, you make some cookies for them
Yeah.
and they'll be so appreciative. And I've learned that now it's more personal
Yeah.
giving gifts. Like, if mom, what does mom want really, or what does she need,
True. Yeah.
like that,
Sometimes it
right?
can just be a
So it's
book,
not just
right?
being gift because I just want to show people like, hey, I gave you this expensive
Yeah.
purse, and I
That's
gave you
true.
this and this and that. So the here is more personal.
Don't you miss the Christmas bonus
Oh my god!
from back home?
13-month
Because
pay.
when I was a
13?
nanny, I
Yeah.
still got Christmas
Oh,
bonuses.
you're lucky.
But when I started working in the law firm, like professional setting, I
Really?
did
So,
no.
Filipino listeners, if you're planning to work abroad, just be
Yeah.
warned that the
Walang
Christmas
ganon.
bonus is not a
Wala.
thing here. But you know what? I'm so lucky. My employers give out a Christmas bonus.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can get like gift cards, right? Like, I
You're
mean,
right. But
yeah,
some
gift
employers
cards, but
don't at all.
don't expect
Zero.
like 13-month. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Exactly.
kaya nga. Ay nako, girls, napakasarap. It's like really, really good conversation we're having here. But, gumagabi na, we have to wrap it up. Maybe we can do a part 2. Let's see. But anyway, girls, before I let you go, let's talk about lessons learned. Yan. I like that. Kasi, we're in I don't want to say our age, but tayo sa part with because of the number of years that what we went through after we shared everything
Mhm.
mula kanina, let's give them what are the lessons that you have learned for those who are planning to migrate, thinking about migrating, or in the process already of migrating, and even our listeners back home that don't have any plans yet. Would you encourage them after what you've been through, after what we shared? Would you encourage them? So, sino ang gusto mag-start? Who wants to start?
Magsa-start ako before I forget. Lesson that I want to share with those wanting to move and live in a new country is acceptance is key. You have to, it has to start from you. You have to accept that you're now living away from home
Mm-hmm.
and you're in a new country, and
Mm-hmm.
open your mind to the thought that it's neither like better or worse. Don't think like that. Just think. I know Chicklet mentioned it. It's
So
just
different.
different.
Yeah.
It's just different. If you open your mind and begin to think that way, adjusting to the new place, to your new home would, would come easier for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, thank you.
I think it's, yeah, same as, what Ting mentioned, acceptance, and then trying to adapt things that you feel it will be beneficial for you. I'm not saying adopt
And
everything that you see or hear or whatever, but adopt those things that are very beneficial for you, and that um, that it will help you grow. Also, set a goal. You have to set a goal, like whatever it is, financial, family. You have to set a goal and stay focused.
very good tip,
you.
Chicklet. What's your motivation?
I
And
was
keep
here.
focused.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There
Right.
you go. So for our listeners, they've given you like really, really, nice words of wisdom here for you guys to think about. Ako siguro, my parting words is going to be, think of your goal. What's really your goal? Why do you want to move out of the Philippines? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
your home. That's where you were born. That's where you were raised. That's where your family is.
Mm-hmm.
So if your goal is greater than what you're going to be leaving, then go for it. So what's your goal? Do you want to have a more comfortable life? You're going to get that. Are you pressured by your family to earn more? You can have that. You can have all of that. You can attain that, because once you migrate to another place, you're gonna get a lot of different things. But know that a lot of what you have back home is gonna be taken away from you too.
Yeah, there's sacrifices too.
There's
Lot of
sacrifices, and I don't think there's anybody who went to another country that have said it was easy.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. But if you have a goal, like what Ting said, if you have that motivation, then go for it. But if you do that, make sure that you are open for change, because it's gonna be right in front of you and you have no choice but to welcome it. Otherwise, I'm gonna be really honest, you're gonna go back home. And it's not bad that if you tried your luck being here and it didn't work and you decided to come back home,
Yeah.
home is where your heart is. So even if you keep moving, like for Chick, she went to like so many places now, like
I
Canada.
do. Yeah.
Like, so for so many years she was moving, but it's like what she said, it's being contented with what you have. You can
Mhm.
have that American dream in the Philippines. It's because it's where your heart is, where you find happiness. Okay? So I know I keep saying last, pero totoong last na to. I know you guys need to sleep. So what's long-term plans for you girls? Are you staying for good? Are you going back for retirement? What? Here or there?
I mean, right now, Lawrence and I are decide to, for our retirement, we just retire in Hawaii. Well, first of all, because that's our first, we love that place. And it's kind of like a compromise because the weather is like a tropical Philippine weather. And at the same time, it's still US. So Lawrence will not feel like, he's away from home. We will continue to visit Philippines, especially, of course, I still have my parents there. We will try to do it once a year if we can financially, support traveling Philippines, because it's expensive. But yeah, so right now that's our plan, is to retire in Hawaii.
Coating.
Well, for us, for the moment, when we think about retiring, we're not 100% on retiring back home yet. We're thinking we would be like snowbirds, and that means live here and then fly back home during the winter.
Winter.
Ah, yeah.
Escape the cold here and go where it's warmer and return when it's warm. Maybe that will change when we get older, but we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
cross the bridge when we get there.
Nice, nice. Ako naman is different. For me, we're gearing towards going back home. I mean, that's for, I mean, we just thought about it because at the end, you know, when that time comes, kami na lang talaga ni Fern. It's just him and, you know, ako na lang. And we wanted to live comfortably. I'm pretty sure with whatever you're getting out of your retirement would stretch more when you go to the Philippines. But because also of our statuses or planning of getting a dual citizenship, or probably not, because I wanted to buy some properties and somehow build a small business back home to keep you busy, di ba? Feeling ko kasi when, even if you're retired, especially with my husband, he's very, very workaholic. So he's gonna miss doing something. So when that time comes, which is malapit na, not disclosing my husband's age, but you know, when that happens, we parang kayo, we would travel back and forth. His family is here. He doesn't have any family back home. I have family back home that I wanted to be with. I miss so much. So we're probably like traveling back and forth. And I'm sure my kids, they're just gonna be here. They don't want to go with us. You know, so because
Yeah.
even for simple visits, they don't want to go anymore. So, you know, it's sad, pero that's how
It's
it
your
is.
choice.
It's,
Yeah.
it's how it is. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna be time that they would feel like, you know, visiting home.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a part two to this. Whatever we
Yeah.
missed or whatever we want to add
I
to add
know.
on to this.
Thank you so much to our listeners. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for listening to what we have to share. I hope, you know, we were able to help you and provide you some insights to make your decisions if you're really wanting to go here and start your life here. But, you know, go for it. You know, it's you're gonna make it as long as you have that perseverance and of course your faith in the Lord. So, ladies, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Always. It's fun, being with you guys. And of course, just always follow us in IG and Facebook at Chervapalooza and leave comments and suggest topics. We want that, like comments and a lot of, suggestions.
And watch out for our episode. And that is going to be every Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Manila time, and of course, 6 a.m. Mountain Time or Canada time.
All right, join us for another round of Churva Churva next week with me, Ting.
Chick.
And Jack. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, ladies. Good night.